Hi, welcome to Michael Romeo Talks Books, my new YouTube channel, in which we'll talk about books, which in my opinion is a great thing to talk about. We'll talk about new books, we'll talk about old books, we'll talk about great books, we'll talk about not so great books. We'll talk about what I'm reading, what you're reading if you want to. We'll have a lot of fun just talking about books, because books are awesome. Before we get going on my first topic, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel, which you can do right below, and you'll get notifications whenever I upload new content. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button so I know that I'm doing the right thing. In the comments, let me know what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, because this is all new to me, and while I might be having fun, who knows. My first topic today is my top 10 books of 2021. These are the books that I read this year that amazed me, that took my breath away, that were just more than I ever expected a book to be. And 2021 was a really good year for me for reading. I rate my books on Goodreads by their 5-star system, and almost every book I read this year had either a 4 or 5-star rating. So when it came to choosing my top 10, it was a bit of a challenge. I know some people who have book logs will not do more than one book by an author. Well, I don't have that hindrance. I have 5 books by one author on this list because I happen to read a lot by that author, and all the ones I read were really good. So moving on, let's start with book 10, which is A Fearsome Doubt by Charles Todd, published in 2002. This is book 6 in the Ian Rutledge series, and while all the books so far in that series have been very good, excellent even, this book rose above the others because of a sense of conflict, personal inner conflict in the main character, Ian Rutledge. And he has some inner battles that he's battling. I won't go into detail because I don't want to provide spoilers, but it's a thread throughout all the books in the series, and in this one it reaches a fever pitch within him and creates the titular A Fearsome Doubt within himself that made the book absolutely riveting to read. Book number 9 on my top 10 list, Dolores Claiborne, the 1992 by Stephen King. This book was a surprise for me. I really didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but it really blew me away with one of the strongest female character leads I've ever encountered in a book, told from her point of view, as if she's talking to the police, and written so expertly that you feel like you're sitting in the room as she's talking to the police about the events that happened. That led her to do the things she did and to prove that she didn't do some of the things that people thought she did. Stephen King is at his height when writing this book, in his character development, his characterizations. You feel like you know this person and you want to find out what's going to happen with the rest of her life. Book 8 is a 1990 novel by James Lee Burke called A Morning for Flamingos. Like with the Charles Todd series that I mentioned a little bit ago, this is the Dave Robichaux series, and it's book number 4. And as with the Charles Todd series, every book so far in the Dave Robichaux series has been an incredible book. But this one took it a step further. Some of the characters had conflicts they had to deal with, and sometimes with each other, sometimes within themselves, and his depiction of those battles between people and within people raised this book up to a level that the others hadn't seen. Again, a really good series. Morning for Flamingos is so far, as far as the books I've read so far in the series, a high point. Book 7, a 1941 book by A.J. Cronin called The Keys of the Kingdom. Story of a Scottish priest who's a little too advanced for the current hierarchy and becomes a bit of an embarrassment to the conservative hierarchy of the Scottish church at that time. And They basically assign him to China in the hopes of getting him out of sight, out of mind. And he goes on to lead an incredible life as a missionary in China. And the depiction of life at that time, set during the late 19th century. And there was a lot of conflict going on within the Chinese borders, and the main character, gets caught up in all that, as well as trying to lead a good and reasonable life as a member of the Catholic Church. And what he encounters makes for a really good reading, and I highly recommend this book. Number 6, another Stephen King book. I said I had 5 books by one author. Well, now you know who it is. Stephen King, End of Watch, is book 3 in the Bill Hodges trilogy. Great wrap-up to the trilogy, great wrap-up to a great trilogy. The main characters that we've come to know in the first 2 books, Bill Hodges, Holly Gibney, Jerome, they really rise to the occasion in this book. And this entire trilogy you've got to read it, because Stephen King writing crime fiction is one of the best things I've encountered. He's known as the master of horror, even though he himself says he's not. He's just a storyteller. In this case, he is a crime storyteller, and what he does in the crime narratives of this trilogy makes for fabulous reading, which of course it makes no surprise that the next book, number 5 on my list, is Finders Keepers, which is the second book in the trilogy. Everything I said about End of Watch applies to this one. And number 4 is Mr. Mercedes, which is the book that starts it all, which is a riveting read. One of the most evil villains you've ever encountered. And Bill Hodges and his gang, Holly and Jerome, work to do their darndest to get this guy under wraps. And it makes for a page-turning novel. Number 3, the final Stephen King book, the 5th Stephen King book on my list, is Revival, 2014 book that he writes this one with such attention to character development and to place. You feel like you are with these people. You feel like you are in the town they live in. You feel like you are traveling with them when they travel. It's a very personal book when it comes to the characters, despite its nod toward the supernatural in the last few chapters. It reads like a straight drama, and the characters, you gotta love them or hate them, in the cases of 1 or 2 of them. And number 2 on my list of the top 10 books of 2021, Gentleman's Agreement, a 1947 novel by Laura Z. Hobson. Folks who think they don't want to read books that predate a certain time, like I won't read any books that are before 2000, I won't read any books before 1990. You're missing out, because there are some great books out there, and Gentleman's Agreement, published in 1947, is still as valid today as when it was written. A journalist takes on an assignment to write about anti-Semitism in America, and decides that the only way to truly get a feel for the issues and the problems is to present himself as a Jew throughout his life and in all his encounters, and feel the anti-Semitism firsthand. It's a very moving book, a very touching book in places, and a very difficult book in some places. When you realize that what Laura Hobson wrote about in 1947 still takes place today. In this world, we're still facing the same anti-Semitism as well as other prejudices. And you would think that in our world we would have risen above that. And while we've taken great strides, it's still a problem. And this book really is an eye-opener. And finally, my number one book of 2021, Pat Conroy's 1980 novel, The Lords of Discipline, set in a military academy. It is a combination of a dramatic portrayal of life in the military academy, a portrayal of life in the upper income area of Charleston, which is known as South of Broad. And at the same time, it's a mystery about a secret society that seems to be existing. And does it exist, or is it just a bunch of rumor and imagination? This book just keeps you going, turning pages. Every chapter has a surprise. Every chapter pulls you in further. And when you get to the end of the book and you finally come out the other side, you've got to take a deep breath, because what a ride. Pat Conroy's The Lords of Discipline. Please grab this book sometime and read it. 1980 book. But again, just like with Gentleman's Agreement, it's still valid today. I thank you for spending your time with me here on my first episode of Michael Romeo Talks Books. I hope to see you a lot. I'm going to be posting a lot of content now that I figured out how to do it and how to work with the editing software and get it uploaded. It's been a learning curve, and I've enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed taping this first episode, dating myself there on, recording this first bit of content. And again, subscribe to the channel so you get updates, and also click like if you've enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Let me know in the comments what you want to see in the future. I have some plans all for the year for what I want to upload, but all of it's subject to change depending on what I hear from you folks. And again, thanks. I've enjoyed this time sharing with you what I've read and the books that I've enjoyed, and let's hope this is the start of something great. See you again soon. Bye.